Welcome back to Vintage HLC Show and Tell. Today we're going to look at Priscilla by Homer Laughlin. So we'll start by looking at the decals. The large sprig with the rose and tulip, and then the small sprigs along the edge. So before we can get into this line in too much detail, we first have to talk about Modern Farmer. So there's the small sprigs on this Modern Farmer creamer, pleated ripple shape. This is a line called Breton that was made for Sears, initially by James River Pottery of Hopewell, Virginia. So James River, they created the shape, they created the decals. So this piece that I have in my hand, even though it's marked Homer Laughlin from 1940, is not a product of the art department. It's actually another Potteries line of dinnerware. But when James River went out of business in the late 1930s, Homer Laughlin had to step in and take over so that Sears could continue this line. Beside this is Darcy on Homer Laughlin's Quaker shape. And here's another catalog page from Sears. We see our Breton line again. Those decals that are going to go on to become Priscilla. Here they are in Modern Farmer. And this one is Theme Eggshell with Surrey. So once Sears is done with this line, Homer Laughlin starts using it on Eggshell Nautilus. And this is done at the request of Club Aluminum Products. They take this line and sell it to Kroger, who then offers a store promotion. And it's sold under the name Household Institute Priscilla Dinnerware and Ovenware. So on Modern Farmer, this is treatment MF2. On Eggshell Nautilus, it's N1639. So we'll look at a couple pieces. We have a 10-inch dinner plate, the platter, the 9-inch plate, teapot, creamer, covered sugar, 9-inch platter or pickle dish or gravy liner, and an oval baker. And then of course there was the corresponding line of ovenware or kitchenware using kitchen craft shapes, the cake plate, the pie plate, open jug. There was no lid made for this jug. You see the original sticker, Household Institute Priscilla Ovenware. The coffee pot or teapot. It was modeled as a coffee pot in 1951, though it could be used as a teapot as well. And then the special 9.5-inch salad nappy from Kitchen Craft. This was made specifically for Priscilla Dinnerware or the promotion. If you find one of these, it's going to have these decals, or it might be an undecorated blank. Don't expect to find other treatments with this shape. Now the marking. We'll look at, let's see, the oval baker. It's from 1947. We see the underglaze marking, and then we see the gold stamp over the glaze, Household Institute Priscilla pattern. Now initially, part of the deal was that Homer Laughlin was not going to mark the Eggshell Nautilus ware. That's what Club Aluminum Products wanted. And Homer Laughlin responds by saying, no, we really don't want to do that, because when they were making Eggshell Nautilus, they were mass producing it. It was a pretty significant decalware shape in the early 1940s. They didn't want to have to set aside some that would be marked and would not be marked under the glaze. So they tell them that's just not going to be practical for us. So the solution was to take the gold stamp and mark it over the Homer Laughlin marking. So in this pie plate, there was more than enough room to put this gold stamp, but it was intentionally put over the Kitchen Craft back stamp. That's also true of some of the pieces from Eggshell Nautilus. So if you see the gold stamp over the underglaze stamp, that's an earlier piece. And then as time goes on, they relax those rules and they just put it off to the side. This one's from 1949. So we'll look at a couple documents. This is an internal memo copy to Club, well, it's regarding Club Aluminum Products out of Chicago, Illinois. It's from November of 1942, and they're talking about the open stock pieces. And it says pattern N1639, which is Priscilla on eggshell nautilus. And by the way, if you see these measurements, these are all trade sizes. So like an 8-inch plate is actually closer to a 10-inch plate. We have the teacups, saucers, various sizes of plates, the fruit cup, the deep plate, which is your rim soup, nappy baker, covered sugar, creamer, platter, sauce boat, pickle, and teapot. Then it says pattern KK351. That's the kitchen craft version of Priscilla. We have the casserole, the pie plate, the cake plate, the jug body. There's no lid. 3 sizes of mixing bowls, and that special 9.5-inch salad bowl. So these come from newspapers.com, some advertisements from Kroger stores, and this is how it worked. So for this 16-piece set, you could buy it outright for $5.99. But if you had the special card that was punched every time you shopped at Kroger, once it was filled, you could redeem that card for this set and pay the discounted price of $3.49. Household Institute dinnerware and ovenware and beautiful Priscilla pattern. That's eggshell nautilus. This comes from 1943. This one's also from 1943. I wanted to print this one out because it describes the promotion. In particular, this paragraph, Priscilla dinnerware is the very finest in dishes that can be purchased and is manufactured by one of 2 companies that have ovenware to match their dinner sets. So the other company they're talking about is Universal Potteries. So this is a mixing bowl from Universal Potteries. It's not marked Universal Potteries, but it does have that overglazed Priscilla back stamp. And our small sprigs. This is also Universal Potteries. Camwood ivory sauce boat and a liner. Sauce boat's not marked, but the liner is marked with that gold stamp. So this causes a little bit of confusion for collectors. They see this marking and they think that they're Homer Laughlin pieces, but they're actually Universal. Universal was not involved in this promotion very long. You will find eggshell nautilus and kitchen craft pieces are much more common than the Universal counterparts. This one's from 1944 and it shows the mixing bowls with Priscilla kitchen craft. $1.69 with the card or without, $2.85. This one's from 1949. We see the similar promotion we saw just a moment ago. In fact, that one was $3.49 for the 16-piece set, and now it's $4.99 or $8.39 without the card. And at the bottom it has some kitchen craft pieces. The casserole, the open jug, the cake and pie plates. 1952, we see the open jug as a 2-quart pitcher. $1.69 with the card, $3.50 without. Now in the late 1940s, they used the Priscilla pattern on Republic, and it will be marked the same way. Household Institute Priscilla pattern. Sometimes you see that little R underneath the pattern. I guess that stands for Republic. This one doesn't have it. It's from 1948. The baker. It's from 1950. So the Republic pieces, they're somewhat common. They're not as easy to find as the eggshell nautilus version, but they're out there. And then by the time you get to the mid-1950s, Priscilla is pretty much done, at least in the form of Household Institute for Kroger's. So they use the leftover decals on Liberty, and it becomes treatment number L654. And this is probably the last instance of this treatment that actually started off on Modern Farmer in the late 1930s. We have a little 6-inch plate. Let's see the marking. 1955. There's the 9-inch plate, and of course the teapot. So I should mention that you will find it on other shapes from time to time. This is Georgian eggshell, and it comes from 1941, I believe. You see your Georgian dash dot embossing. There's your small sprigs with an ivory shoulder and the large center sprig. So this is a very easy line to collect. Homer Laughlin made a lot of this for this Kroger promotion. The eggshell nautilus, of course, is going to be the easiest. So to recap, we see it on Modern Farmer first, as sold through Sears. Eggshell nautilus, Kitchen Craft, Republic, Liberty, Universal Potteries kitchenware, Camwood Ivory by Universal Potteries, and then we have this oddball piece of Georgian eggshell. So that's going to be it for Priscilla for now. Next time we're going to look at some Mexican-themed decals like Mexicana, Hacienda, and Conchita.